Hey there, and welcome to another installment into my movie series, Spooky Season movie series. Again, I do apologize for being kind of late in the month, but if you saw my previous video, I went on to explain why I've been dormant for a little while, and I've been very busy as a scare actor with Universal Orlando's Halloween Horror Nights. So if you are wondering and haven't watched those videos yet, you can mosey on down and watch the update. But I am going to talk about today one of the first films in my, it's going to be a shorter spooky season film since October is halfway over here due to my busy schedule. But our first film in this series, let's take a stab, is going to be M3GAN. And I am wearing a famous shirt that the original doll that kind of inspired M3GAN. Of course, we have Chucky here. So the film M3GAN was released in 2022, and just a brief overview, it is about Allison Williams' character. She works for a toy company, and what turns into what could be a very innocent idea goes awry. And I mean, as the saying goes, what can go wrong probably will go wrong. So, as a backstory, Allison Williams' character gets custody of her niece because tragically the little girl's parents die in a car crash. And being that she is married to her career, essentially, she does not have the willpower, if you will, or the patience to care for and nurture a young child so that the child can kind of develop properly and make friends. She takes her prototype that she's been working on probably for many years and presents M3GAN, this doll, to her niece. And like I said, what starts off as a pretty innocent, cute idea, well, all hell breaks loose. So if you are a fan of the Chucky series or anything doll related, we know that most movies, when you hear that there's a doll involved, we know where it's pretty much gonna go. So of course, with the advancements in technology, this idea of a film really isn't that far-fetched. Of course, they Hollywoodize it to make it what I found, in my opinion, kind of comical. I feel like this film, yes, it is, quote, a horror movie, but there were a lot of elements where I thought this film was quite hilarious. You know, being that there is a doll-like figure chasing and massacring a bunch of human people, and doll versus human, the doll wins. So, like I said, to me, there was a lot of elements in this film that were quite comical, even though it is a horror movie and has a pretty sinister plot. Of course, this movie kind of was replacing the human connection that this child really needed. And of course, this doll and in other films like Chucky and some other AI possessed related things, in this case AI, studies every move essentially and has vendettas and the brain power to have, well, not the brain power, but the computing power, if we will, to hold grudges and get back at anything and anyone who gets in its way. So that very common plot that we see with a lot of movies, and being that this one is a horror film, the doll was gonna take no BS and basically take care of anything that got in her way. So let's stab into some interesting and fun facts that happen on set. So M3GAN is played by two actresses. The first actress was Jenna Davis. Now she did the voice of M3GAN, the voiceovers and all the vocals. And Amy Donald is the second actress, who is actually a dancer in real life. So she's the one who did the robotic type of movements and the very iconic dance move that takes place in The Office, as seen in this clip here.
Look out now.
What are you doing?
Angry eyes won't look from him, can paralyze resist. I'm a
Also, puppeteering and minimal CGI was used in this film because the director and the producers of this film wanted to make the movements coming from the actresses, specifically Amy, the dancer, to be as realistic as possible, and so that M3GAN can really have those movements as if, even though she's a doll, she's lifelike. So they wanted to try to cut down on using as much CGI as possible to give it that realistic feel. So hope you guys enjoyed the little spooky video of my first movie in my spooky season movie series, M3GAN. Stay tuned for the next one. Stay tuned and see you soon.